Benvenuto, welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to be making another one of my favorite things in the whole world. We're going to make lasagna. More specifically, we're going to make Italian-American lasagna. Because of course, what most of us think of as lasagna and love and enjoy is really the Italian-American version of it. If you go to Italy, you're probably not going to find this type of lasagna, or kind of like the type of lasagna that you get at any large Italian-themed restaurant. You know, like the one where you get all the free salad or salad and breadsticks that you want. Now, there is a difference between an Italian-style or authentic Italian-style lasagna and Italian-American style lasagna. There's really kind of two different types. There's the northern style and the southern style. Now, we're going to do the Italian-American one because one, it's less expensive, it's a little bit faster, and we all love it. We're not going to do the kind of two traditional types. I saved that, and my grandmother always made that on the holidays or on special occasions. So basically, the big difference between a northern Italian-style lasagna is that you make that with the bechamel sauce instead of ricotta cheese. Other than that, it's really similar to it. It's got the hamburger and the sausage. Now, from where my great-grandmother was, the southern part of Italy, it's a totally different story. That is a all-day, if not two-day project. It has, at least the way my grandmother used to make it for us on Christmas, it has everything but the kitchen sink in it. It's got sausage, it's got hamburger, it's got prosciutto. She used to make her meatballs, but, you know, little tiny meatballs. It's summertime. We don't necessarily want to do all that work, but maybe one of these days we'll do a authentic Southern style lasagna. But anyway, this is delicious. So what are we going to need for our lasagna? Of course, the first thing you need is lasagna noodles. Whatever your favorite dry noodle product is, follow the instructions to cook it. You know, and if the instructions say 4 quarts of water, it means 4 quarts of water, guys. You cannot make a pound of, I've said this many times, you can't make a pound of spaghetti in 1 quart of water. It's going to get all sticky. It's going to overcook. That's really the big secret to, as far as I'm concerned, al dente pasta. You have to use the recommended amount of water. And they made it so they know how it should be cooked. So follow the directions. All right, so then we're going to need some ground beef, a pound for this particular recipe. This is going to make a big pan of lasagna in and of itself. I do the 93% lean. We don't need any more fat in that because we've got sweet Italian sausage. You can use hot Italian sausage if you like. Most of who I serve lasagna to, they like it with the sweet sausage. If you're serving it for dinner, throw out, you know, some, or put on the table some, you know, flaked red chili peppers, and people can just sprinkle that on if they want to add a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of heat. I normally get the ones that isn't the ground sausage that isn't in the casing, but I couldn't get it today, so you want to take the sausage out of the casing. I've already done that. Sorry, wait. I didn't think we should save one to show you guys. But you just slice the sausage down and peel the casing off. Okay? So we'll go over some of of course, the big ingredients in lasagna. Since we're making an Italian-American style, we're going to use ricotta cheese. Again, your favorite whole milk ricotta cheese. We're going to do a couple things with that, add some eggs to it and so on and so forth, but you're going to need about 30 ounces. Then you're going to need some good quality Parmesan grated cheese. Now, if I was making the traditional Southern style lasagna and it was for a special occasion, Christmas or something, I would go for the imported Italian grated cheese. We're going to need about a cup to a cup and a half of it. So that would be, to buy a block to get a cup or a cup and a half out of grated is going to be about $15, $20. So like I said, I'm trying to keep the cost down this one a little bit. But if you can splurge a little at least go over to the cheese section and get the one that's already pre-grated. A good domestic one will taste almost as good. If you can help it, don't use that shaken one that you get on, in the aisle. I'm not quite sure what's in there, but it's not going to melt the way that you want it to melt. So anyway, a good quality Parmesan cheese. Then you're going to need some mozzarella. This is mozzarella from the deli. I've done this the last few times with it, and I really like the way it comes out. So it's, you just go to your deli stand at your supermarket and tell me you want a pound of mozzarella cheese, and they'll slice it for you. I have them slice it a little bit thinner. I find it really covers nicely. Plus, again, with mozzarella cheese, if you get the mozzarella cheese in the bag and it's already pre-grated, remember, I think it's cornstarch. Again, I've said this many times as we've cooked together. They coat it with cornstarch, so of course it doesn't stick together in the package. And it just doesn't seem to melt as well. All right, so anyway, on with the ingredients. Okay, we've gone over the ricotta cheese, Parmesan cheese, mozzarella. We're gonna need a couple eggs. We're gonna need some flat leaf Italian parsley. We don't really have to be that fussy with it. This is gonna go in our ricotta. I'm just gonna break off the leaf, maybe break it once or twice. All right, and we're probably gonna need about 2 tablespoons of that. So again, really easy. You don't have to sit there and chop it up really, really tiny with a knife. Take it off your stem. Like that. Of course, you don't want the stem because that's gonna be, it'll have a texture to it. So that's it, easy. Throw that, the stem in itself away. All right, we need some salt and pepper, of course. We need some sugar because we're going to make a red sauce. Again, if I was making this for a special occasion, the holidays, I would use my homemade meat flavored sauce, which is on our channel as well. I don't actually have any of that frozen, but even if I did, which I'm going to make a big batch of that. Even if I did, I still wouldn't use it for this particular recipe. Like I said, that's an all-day project to make that sauce. I don't know if I said sugar, but we're gonna need some white sugar, salt and pepper. We've got some, whatever your favorite Italian pre-made seasoning is. And I've got some basil, some dried basil. You could use fresh. I couldn't get a small amount of it. They just had a big stock of it, and I wasn't gonna be using it much more this week, so I didn't wanna waste it. So I'm gonna go with the dried. I usually do use the dried. All right, we talked about the noodles. We're gonna need a little bit of vino, a little bit of red wine. Doesn't have to be a $50 bottle of red wine, just a nice tasting, sipping red wine. And then for our sauce. Now, you certainly could use your favorite jar sauce, all prepared. I've done that many, many times. We're going to do it, as I said, this is my grandmother's recipe, so we're going to do it the way she does it. So we want a 28-ounce can of, this is my favorite brand. Pastine should call me up and say, hey, let us sponsor you, because I use so much of this, we should own stock in their company. That's kitchen-ready, ground, peeled tomatoes. Then we got some tomato sauce. I probably only need 15 ounces. Might need a little bit more. We'll see how thick our sauce comes out. Now, one thing I do want to really get this thought driven in, that if you do use your own a pre-made jarred sauce, don't skip the tomato paste, okay? And for this recipe, I always use 2 6-ounce cans or 1 12-ounce can of tomato paste. But you do want to use that even if you're using a jarred sauce, because excuse me, because the tomato paste is going to give it a really nice richness. Okay, so we're going to just kind of go over we need a large white onion, and we need 3 nice big pieces of garlic. And one other thing, I am going to go, this recipe, you certainly could do in a 9x12 pan. This is a 10 by 13, I think. I like this because it's got the nice, the deep sides, and I don't have to worry about it spilling out. But you could use a 9x12. You might have to, stuff it in there a little bit more. But I like to use that pan for lasagna. All right, so we're just going to quickly go over, of course, guys, our onions. We've done this so many times. We don't really have to chop the onions up really, really small because this is going to cook in our sauce for a couple hours, and those onions are going to, get nice and soft and almost just dissolve into our sauce. Now, as I said, we are making a tomato sauce with this. So this is, this making lasagna isn't a 10-minute process because we're going to want to let our sauce simmer for a couple hours. Now, a lot of people say, well, you want to let it simmer, let all the flavors get through, cook the tomatoes, the canned tomatoes, get rid of that canniness taste. And that is true. But one of the other big things that we're going to simmer it for a couple hours is we want that meat to be nice and tender. So again, we just have to do a really rough chop of our onions, guys. It's not going to cooperate for me, so our one white onion. So we're just going to rough chop it up like that. I won't make you watch me chop the other side and cut a finger off because that wouldn't be appetizing. But like I said, we're gonna get this in the pan with our beef and our tomato sauce. So that's gonna get nice and soft. So we got our garlic. The way I do it is I cut off the little root end there. That's actually this piece is gonna peel really nice. This is a nice fresh garlic. The longer garlic sits around, the harder it is to peel. But anyway, I had already cut this one. Of course, you want to just put your blade down, give it a little smash, and the skin will come off in almost one piece. Might as well do them all. I'll start to chop it. So we want this chopped up pretty fine. Again, as I've said, I'm sure I've said many times when we were using garlic, I don't mind a big piece of garlic biting into it after it's been cooked, but not everybody finds that pleasant. So if you slice that lengthwise a couple times, and if you have really good knife skills, you can do this really fast, but then just, kind of pick your knife up and down like that, scrape it all together every once in a while, and just chop up until it's relatively fine. It doesn't have to be garlic paste, but again, you want to have the big chunks done. All right, I'll finish that up. Again, I don't want to make you watch me do that. All right, other than that, we're going to get... That was really loud, sorry. Other than that, we're going to get our sauce in the pot. So we're going to put this all away, get ready to get our sauce in, and we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to get our sauce up all put together and so that it can start simmering. This is one of the rare occasions where you don't have to worry about preheating your pan. Why my grandmother did it that way, I don't know. And my mom did it that way as well. And we're not using any additional olive oil. So we want to put our pan on medium high, get our sausages in there. Of course, the sausages got quite a bit of fat in it. So that's going to quickly start to render and get our any additional oil we need in there. Going to start to break that up a little bit. And we'll get our ground beef in. Yeah, we'll get this in the sink and give our hands a little wash. Okay, so no great mystery to this, guys. We want to start to get this browning. I'm going to turn my heat source up a little bit more to maybe medium high. There it goes. It's starting to sizzle. Move our spices and stuff over for a bit. Okay, so like I said, just start to break it up a little bit. You know, it's really up to you whether you want big chunks of meat in it. I prefer it pretty well broken up. One, because it's going to get nice and tender, and it's going to not make our lasagna too lumpy, but that's up to you. All right, so that's going to take us a good 10 minutes to get that browned out, 5 to 10 minutes. So again, instead of making you watch us sit here and break up meat, we'll see you in about 5-10 minutes. Okay, we're at just about the 5-minute mark, guys. Mark. Thought I was saying my name there for a minute. We're at the 5-minute mark, and you can see our beef is just beef and sausage is starting to brown, and I want to throw my onions in there. I'm not going to add the garlic yet. We're going to add that in once our meat has reached the brownness we want. All right, so that's going to probably take another 5 minutes to get all browned. See you then. All right, we have been it's probably been about 15 minutes it took to get this to the point that I wanted it in total. And we've done this before, guys, but you can, as you're stirring it, you're going to see a lot of liquid. There was much more than that in there. Some of that is the fat from the sausage. A lot of that is, especially as you're sauteing it, is the liquid from the onions. But that's almost all absorbed, so that's just about where I want it. I'm going to add my beautiful garlic. Give that a stir through. Just till it take about 30 minutes. You're going to smell 30 seconds. You're going to smell the garlic. And we're going to just kind of cook off a little bit of that garlic, raw garlic taste, but we don't want to burn it anywhere, so. There you go. I can smell it. All right, so I'm going to turn this down to low temporarily, and we're going to get our ground peeled tomatoes in there. We don't want to waste any of that, so we're going to give it a little splash of red wine. You certainly could use chicken stock, beef stock if you've got it handy. You can also use just plain old water. We are going to put about a half a cup of red wine in our sauce. You got to stir around. Now, this is probably going to be a little bit more than you use in the total recipe, but of course, any good Italian wants a little bit of sauce, extra sauce, so they can put it on their table and people can pour more sauce on if they so choose. And we'll get our tomato sauce in there. Put our herbs. That's our oregano. Get some salt and our oregano and our Italian seasoning. Got our salt and pepper. Get out of there. A little bit of sugar. There's 2 tablespoons of sugar. You put sugar in the sauce for a couple things, because of course, whenever anything is salty, the sugar will make it even taste better. And also, there's a lot of acid in your tomatoes, so the sugar is going to help neutralize the acid. I don't put a lot of sauce. I don't put a lot of salt in this sauce, because we're going to have salt in several different layers, which will give us the flavor we're looking for. All right, our wonderful tomato paste. I'm going to chip my pan. Oops. All right, then we're going to add our half a cup of red wine. And we're going to stir this to combine it all nicely. And I'm going to turn my heat back up to medium. I do want this to come to the boil or right before that. Then we're going to turn it down and let it simmer for some time. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is a delicious ragu. Any red sauce with meat is a ragu. Just like that one that you can get in the jar, except this is a real ragu because it's got the meat in it. But this is delicious with, just with pasta, of course. All right, when that comes back to just about the boil, we'll come back, show it to you, and then we're going to turn it down and let it simmer for at least 2 hours, guys. And it really does need 2 hours because, again, like I said, you want your beef to get, your beef and your sausage to get tender. 4 hours is even better. I'm going to let it go about 2 so we don't end up eating at midnight tonight. But it'll probably go a little bit more than 2 by the time we get everything else together. But once this comes to the point where I want it, we'll be back and we're going to get our ricotta cheese and all the other fixings that are going to go inside it ready so that when we're ready to assemble it, we're going to cook the noodles, then we're ready to assemble it and get in the oven. And it's come, in my long-winded speech there, it's come to the boil, so that's perfect. All right. You can see it's gonna, there you go. You got a couple of those little volcanoes coming up there. That's good. All right, we're gonna turn this down to simmer. On my little induction plate here, that's about between 140 and 160. So I'm going to set it at 180, make sure it's doing what I'm going to do it, then I'll turn it down to 140. All right, so you don't even have to cover that. I'm going to loosely cover it. Only because we're going to be doing other things and it's going to be splattering all over the place. It's going to make a mess, but very loosely cover it, all right? We still want any additional liquid that comes through from the onions and any liquid that's in the tomato sauce, we want that to evaporate. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, guys, so, of course, I neglected to say, but you want to, keep an eye on your sauce during this 2-hour period. You want to make sure that it's still simmering nicely. Give it a little bit of a stir. You don't want it to burn. All right. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put together our ricotta cheese and all the fixings that's going to go in it, so that we'll be all ready to assemble once our sauce is done. So we're just going to put our 30 ounces of ricotta cheese in a bowl. Give it a stir. All right, then we're going to add our cheese in. This is our Parmesan cheese. It's a half a cup. So the total recipe is probably going to take about 1.5 cups as you sprinkle it in. Now the reason I'm adding the Parmesan in there is because depending upon how much liquid's in your ricotta will depend upon if you want to put 1 or 2 eggs in. We got our nice torn apart, a couple tablespoons of fresh parsley, which will give parsley has one of those flavors. It's kind of in the background. It gives you a freshness that if you don't put it in, you'll notice it. Then we got some salt and pepper, half a teaspoon of each. And there's kind of a lot of controversy whether you put an egg in there or not. To me, I think one, it helps it, you spread it out, and it helps bind your ricotta cheese together. And this looks good to me. We're not going to need 2, so I'm going to get our egg in there and get everything nicely combined. Now, if you wanted to, could have tasted it for salt right before you put the egg in. I use this cheese all the time. I know, what it tastes like, so I know it doesn't need any additional salt, or at least not to my liking. Of course, salt and pepper is always to taste. All right, so that looks good. So we're going to put a cover on that, throw it into the refrigerator, and that'll be all ready for when we're ready to assemble. Now, probably about, half hour or so before your sauce is ready, you want to put your water on. Wade will just take a quick look at my stainless steel pot over there. Now, I already have that all full of water. It's just waiting to go on. But I did want to just touch on base on a big pot like that, a big stock pot. I think every home cook needs one. Yes, they can be expensive. They've got some really high quality pots out there without the big name brand attached to them that are probably going to go you about $125. I mean, certain pots can go $300. But everybody needs one. Not only so that you're making sure that you've got enough water when you're boiling your pasta, but stocks, soups, beef stews. So it's one of those things, you want a good quality stainless steel with a heavy aluminum bottom. Of course, that's going to let the heat disperse all over the bottom of the pan. Now, I realize not everybody's going to be able to run out and spend $125, $170, $50 on a pan, but put that on your wish list, and hopefully somebody really nice will buy that for you for Christmas, or tell people in your family, that's what I want, pitch in, buy me the pot. You won't regret it. All right, so we still got about 1.5 hours for our sauce to cook. So as I started to say, you want to get your water boiling about a half hour before your sauce is done. It's going to take about 4 or 5 minutes to do your noodles, and by the time you drain them and so on and so forth, you should be ready to assemble. So we'll see you then. Okay, our sauce has simmered for a little over 2 hours, and it is fabulous, if I do say so myself. Got our water boiling for our lasagna noodles. Got my oven set at preheating at 375. All right, so we're gonna cook our noodles. So of course, first thing we need a nice handful of sea salt. Give our water a little stir. All right, and then we got our box of lasagna noodles. So the box directions are cook for 4 minutes. So I'm gonna get them all in there. Let's put that little piece in there. Give it a stir. Gonna get them moving around a bit. And I want it to come back up to a big rolling boil, which it is. All right, and we're gonna set a timer for 4 minutes. Okay, Google, set a timer for 4 minutes.
Okay, 4 minutes, and we're starting now.
And you really do want to kind of stay close to your pot. Stir your noodles around a bit. In doing that, you're going to help them separate, and hopefully it's not going to get really starchy and sticky. All right, we'll see you guys over at the strainer in about 3.5 minutes. Okay, Google, stop. All right, guys, so I'm gonna strain. Oh, this pan is heavy. Our pasta noodles. All right, now I'm gonna do something I tell you never ever to do. I'm gonna rinse our pasta. This is the only time in any circumstance that you would rinse your pasta with cold water. And there's 2 reasons for that, because we want to stop the cooking process. That's really the biggest reason. Not necessarily that we want to get the starch off. And these noodles call for an al dente, really al dente instructions. So we want to cool them. To stop the cooking process. And you can see we have no noodles sticking together. So we're going to put them on, lay them out on an impeccably clean red cotton kitchen towel. And it must be red. No. And again, those are going to cool and dry. Of course, you could do this on a paper towel. And why do we want to dry them? Well, because we don't want to put too much more liquid into our sauce. All right, I'm going to get these all laid out. And then the only thing left to do is put our lasagna together. Back in a little bit. Okay, guys, now comes the fun part. Putting it together, and then comes the best part, eating it. I know in this pan, I do 2 with these particular noodles. It takes 2 to go lengthwise, so I need about 18 noodles because I want to do 2 layers. I want 2 layers, and then the top layer will just be noodles and the sauce and some Parmesan cheese. But anyway, all right, so we got our sauce. Ow! All right. So we just want to kind of coat the bottom pretty good with a little layer of your sauce. Kind of does 2 things. We're going to stop the noodles just from sticking to the bottom. And of course, it's going to give some nice flavor to the bottom noodles. Okay. All right, so then we want to put a noodle down. Now, not that it matters at all because your sauce and everything's going to cover it up, but I always leave the most pretty noodles for the top. So, just going to start laying our layer of noodles. I don't overlap them. You could if you want in this pan. I don't need to with this brand of noodles because they just about fit. I find that if I don't overlap them, it comes out a little neater. All right, so there we go. We got our first layer of noodles in. All right, so now we're going to try to get 2 layers out of this. You could do more. I think 2 is nice with the volume of ricotta cheese and stuff. So you can use about half of your ricotta mixture. And I'm going to spread it out all to the sides if you can. More over here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. That New England accent is coming out again. I think that's about half, give or take a little bit. Okay, then we want to take our grated cheese. Of course, it doesn't really matter what way you end up, although in one respect, depending upon what kind of cheese you are going to use. So you want to cover that nicely. You want to, even though we've got some in our ricotta cheese. But so if you've got the flat cheese like this, if you bought it from the deli, I leave that as the layer I put the sauce over. But there isn't a science to it. You can do it whatever way you like. Okay, then we're going to put a layer of our sauce. Oh, the sauce smells so good. I just want to get a piece of bread and dip it in. You'll see our sauce has thickened up during the cooking process. Get some over those corners. Get in there. If anybody can hear that, that's my stomach growling.
There's a lot of those lines.
Not that I'm hungry, it's just the smell of my sauce. All right, then we're going to go on again with our next layer of noodles. Let's see, how am I doing? That should be fine. I was going to say I should have had the deli guy cut that a little bit thinner, but All right, and then we can use the rest of this so we had one layer. This is our second. And of course, the third is a layer. The only thing it doesn't have is the ricotta cheese. And again, try to spread that out to the sides. I think I mentioned our oven is set at 375. It's all preheated. Now, one thing you want to add to your, at least planning for when you're going to sit down and eat, this really does need a good 15, 20 minutes once you've taken it out of the oven to cool down. Because if you don't do that, I mean, it's going to be in a 375 degree oven for 45 minutes. It's going to come out hot. And if you don't let it cool down a bit, you're not going to be able to get nice slices. Well, they'll be delicious, but they just won't be necessarily together. All right, we'll put on our... Wrong way. I'm not going to have enough. I should have had him slice it thinner. But that's all right. Normally, I would definitely do a layer of cheese on top. So, have your deli person cut it a little bit thinner than I did. Make sure you got enough to cover it. We'll just double up on our other cheese. All right, so then we're going to put our sauce down. Like I said, well, I could squeeze all the sauce in there, but I am going to save a little bit. But, and again, you never know. I might end up using it all in here. Okay, our last layer of noodles. We ended up with 4 left over, but you could always do something with that. All right, our last bit of sauce. The sauce cooked down really nice, so it's good. No wonder why it's so delicious, but usually I do have a little bit left over. So, especially if you were making this in a 9x12 pan, you would have a little bit more left over. But I'm going to end up using all of this. Every bit out. I'm going to just smooth it to the edges a little bit more. And like I said, if I hadn't run out of mozzarella, I would put another layer of mozzarella on this, but Wade can show you how beautiful that looks. I'm going to just check to make sure I don't have any. Nope. No other mozzarella. All right, so we're going to go do a nice sprinkling of our Parmesan. All right, so then we're going to cover it. Now in this pan, because it's a little, the edges are a little higher, I don't have to worry about the tin foil sticking, but when I do it in the 9x12, I use the non-stick tin foil. You don't have to, but again, when you take off your cover, some of your cheese might be stuck to it, so do it carefully so you don't ruin all your nice cheese. All right, so we're going to put this in our preheated 75-degree oven for 30 minutes. Oh! Okay, so 30 minutes, then we're gonna take the cover off and we're gonna put it back in for roughly another 15 minutes until it's golden brown and delicious. Okay, Google, set a timer for 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes, starting now.
Okay, Google, stop. All right, guys. Been in the oven for 30 minutes. Let's get out, close up the door. And we just want to take our tin foil out. You can see it's starting to get bubbly. All right, so we're going to go back in for, like I said, 15, 20 minutes. We'll check it at about 15, see how the brownness is. And if it's not as brown as I like it, we'll put it in for a few minutes longer. See you in a little while. Okay, we're actually going on about 25 minutes. Hasn't quite browned it as much as I wanted, so I put it back in for a little bit. Let's take a look. Oh, that looks good. Perfect. Just couldn't get a little bit of, it's hard to see in the light, but I couldn't get the browning on top I wanted. But finally, 25 minutes later, it came about. Maybe my oven temp is off a little bit. I'm going to have to check it. All right, now, again, like I said, the hardest part of all, we have to really wait a good 15, probably 20 minutes for this to cool down, so that when we cut it, it won't all fall apart on us. Hopefully we can wait that long. We'll see you then. Bye. Okay, the best part is finally here. One of my most favorite things in the whole world, my lasagna. Or my mom's lasagna, my grandmother's, anybody's lasagna. Anyway, we got a nice little green salad, a little bit of our vino. Cheers. Here's to all your work editing this.
Sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties.
Which is really too bad, because I said some profound things, and one of them was, I told you all the meaning of life, but when we started our tasting, this glass of wine was full, and you can see it's not full. So I had forgot the meaning of life. But anyway, the gist of it is that Mark's lasagna is the best lasagna in the world.
It came out excellent.
One thing I do want to repeat that we put on the first run is, hey Vicky, first of all, again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments. You always make me laugh when I see that you have a comment. I really appreciate that. But I did get my friend's mom's, who's from New Jersey, recipe for a cold broccoli salad. I found a lot of different salads, cold broccoli salads online, but hers looks really good. So I'm going to use hers, and maybe we'll make that in our next upcoming episode and dedicate it to you. And of course, you're always welcome to come have it with us. By the way, I guess that's all. Oh, I do want to say, I hope that you guys all enjoyed cooking along with us today, or watching us cook. I hope that you'll try this. This is really, if you haven't made lasagna in a while, or your mom or your grandmom or your dad made a really good lasagna, I think this will make you think of them and put a smile on your face.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, that's all I got to say.
Please like and subscribe and check out cherryhillhomecooking.com. And we'll see you on the next video.
Ciao.
Bye. Excellent.
I said I haven't done lasagna in a while. It's a lot of work.